Hi, it's Mark. And if you're watching this, I must be dead. Okay, not really, but I've always wanted to say that. Maybe they'll show this at my memorial. You know, we are here in Congressional Cemetery in Washington, D.C. And we're going to take a tour today because there is some important AIDS history going on right here. As a matter of fact, we're going to give the cemetery president a pop quiz on all things graveyard. Did you know that 102 billion people have died since the beginning of time? It makes it seem kind of inevitable, doesn't it? Even when you take your meds. So I figured it might be fitting to take a look around the kind of place where a lot of us will be spending a lot of time one day. So come on, really, it'll be fun.
We all have the same condition. It's called life. I'm living mine as a gay man in an addict in recovery who's dealing with aging and being a friend and finding happiness and staying healthy and having fun and enjoying laughter, all while living with HIV for more than 25 years. I'm Mark S. King, and this is my fabulous disease. Established in 1807, Washington, D.C.'s Congressional Cemetery is the resting place of more than 25,000 people, from Dolly Madison to John Philip Sousa to a host of prominent governmental figures. The historic cemetery had fallen on hard times, but has been lovingly restored in recent years with the help of volunteers and Capitol Hill residents. It also has its share of HIV history, as I learned from a stroll through the cemetery with President Paul Williams. Take, for instance, Leonard Matlovich. Leonard was perhaps the most famous gay man of the 1970s next to Harvey Milk. Matlovich was a Vietnam War veteran and the recipient of both the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star, and in 1975 he became the first active service member to out himself as a gay man in an effort to overturn the ban on gays in the military. That same year, he became the first openly gay person to appear on the cover of a U.S. news magazine. After years of court struggles, Matlovich settled with the Air Force in 1980. In 1987, Leonard announced he was living with AIDS, and he was an active champion for AIDS research. He died in June of 1988. His gravestone in Congressional Cemetery reads, "When I was in the military, they gave me a medal for killing 2 men, and a discharge for loving 1. According to Paul Williams, Leonard Matlovich continues his advocacy, even in death.
Once Matlovich was here, other gays and now lesbians have expressed an interest in buying plots in and near him, and it's really created what we call a gay corner. We get a lot of questions about it in the gatehouse. They say, what does that mean on that corner?
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting.
And then you get a lot of wink and nods.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's wonderful. Now I hear that another notorious maybe gay, J. Edgar Hoover, is nearby here. Is that true?
Yes.
Can we go look?
Yes, let's go look.
Let's go.
We have FBI agents approach us and ask where the grave is. We point them the right direction, and then they come and spend some solitary time, usually an hour, on the bench staring at his gravesite. From time to time, it's happened twice this year already, 2 high heels will show up on the top of his gravesite.
No kidding.
They stay there for a few days and they mysteriously disappear.
Well, you know, I'm going to make a confession. I'm wearing panties. Yeah, but actually, I always do. So it's really it's not for him.
Paul seemed to know a lot about graveyards, so it made me wonder, how much does he really know?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Are You Smarter Than a Cemetery President? Today we have a cemetery president, Paul Williams from Congressional Cemetery, Washington, D.C. Welcome, Paul.
Hi, thanks.
Okay, you know the rules. If you know the correct answer, you're going to hit your gravestone with the correct answer. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
Number 1, complete this sentence. It isn't the cough that carries you off. I'm sorry, your time is up. The answer is, it's the coffin they carry you off in. Next, what famous literary character sleeps in a coffin?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, your time is up. The answer is Dracula. Hello, you work at a cemetery.
Are hard.
Okay. What's the difference between a cemetery and a graveyard? Yes, Paul.
A graveyard is in a church.
That's exactly right, for 1 point. Next, when your body is removed from the ground sometime after burial, you have been... Yes, Paul.
Disinterred.
That is correct for 2 points. Next, The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. The worms are playing what? Sorry, your time is up. The answer is pinochle on your snout. Sorry. According to Greek mythology, when you die, you must cross what river? And Paul?
Kwai.
The river Kwai. No, I'm afraid that's incorrect. The answer is the river Styx.
The river Styx.
Next, how much will you weigh after cremation? Yes, Paul.
5 to 7 pounds.
That is exactly right. You weigh more if you have more bone density, so take your Boniva. Next, who said many people die at 25 and aren't buried until 75? Yes.
Cher.
That's incorrect. But the correct answer is Benjamin Franklin. You're quite a card. Okay, finally, actually 2 more.
Yep.
In the famous Thomas Hardy poem, "Are You Digging on My Grave?" who is that digging on her grave? Sorry, your time is up. The answer is her dog. Her sweet little dog is digging on her grave. Okay, and finally, who's buried in Grant's tomb? Yes, Paul.
Nobody.
Really?
It's empty.
Is it really?
I think so.
No, you're making that up. I want to thank everybody. Unfortunately, I must wipe away all your points because you didn't answer in the form of a question. So thank you very much for playing, and goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
My tour with Paul also included a very creepy public tomb that they've been making available for everything from book signings to serving as the bar at parties. This is really scary, so we're going to get out of here.
And everywhere, the cemetery had contributions from dearly departed LGBTs.
The red bench is a memorial bench for Emanuel Butch Ziegler, who's buried near Matlovich, and he wanted benches placed throughout the cemetery.
You know the donor's gay when you have to use air quotes to say the name Butch. And even the cemetery chapel has gotten word of a certain Supreme Court decision.
So we're here in the chapel of Congressional Cemetery. This is a lovely place.
Yeah, built in 1903.
1903, and I hear that there's going to be a gay wedding here.
Yes, our first gay wedding, and it's going to be this fall.
Really? Y'all have a sense of humor around here.
You really have to be working in the cemetery business.
What's your busy month or a busy month for you?
Busiest month with events and activities, of course, is October.
Really?
Yes.
Do you let people run around in costume and stuff?
We actually have a costumed 5K race.
No kidding.
It's called Dead Man's Run.
Wow. Well, speaking of sense of humor, I have this little poem that I want to read for you. That's been my favorite poem like my whole life. It's a little macabre, so I thought you might like it.
I like it.
Okay, here it goes.
Okay.
Agatha Morley, all of her life, grumbled at dust like a good wife. Dust on a table, dust on a chair, dust on a mantle she couldn't bear. She forgave fault in man and child, but a dusty shelf would set her wild. Agatha Morley is sleeping sound, 6 feet under the moly ground. 6 feet under the ground she lies, with dust at her feet and dust in her eyes.
It does make you appreciate all of the amazing moments in life and really to get out there and experience life.
As I finished my day at Congressional Cemetery, Paul offered some good advice. First, death is expensive and often sudden. Save for it. And if you're getting a headstone, don't leave that choice to family. They'll get something boring. Put some thought into it. Be fabulous. And finally, all of us will leave this life, gay and straight, positive and negative. So during your brief time here, have some fun. And whatever you do, don't worry about the dust. Thanks for watching, and please be well.